the most honest, the best piece that was done on TikTok was done by Reid on her Readout program. I love the way she did it. And she also brought in Robert Reich. I'm going to also play a piece of what I think about this TikTok regime. But first, let's listen to Reid as well as Robert Reich, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Yesterday, an overwhelming majority of the House of Representatives passed a bill that would force TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, to sell the social media platform to an American company within 6 months. If they fail to do so, TikTok would be banned from U.S. app stores. The Chinese government owns a 1% stake in ByteDance, in a ByteDance subsidiary. And all types of politicians from both sides of the aisle have said that that poses a threat to U.S. national security, data privacy, and mental well-being because they have access to the personal information of millions of Americans. Opponents say that banning a social media platform would amount to an unconstitutional violation of the freedom of speech of nearly 150 million Americans. But why now? Why is Congress doing this? We've never received public evidence that the Chinese Communist Party is using the app to spy on us or manipulate the masses. Also, if we're so worried about foreign influence, why are the biggest foreign holders of U.S. debt Japan and China? We import roughly $536 billion worth of goods from China. When's the last time you've been in a Walmart and checked where just about everything on the shelves was made? And why did we allow Saudi Arabia to buy influence by investing billions of dollars in Uber, Meta, Microsoft, Google's parent company Alphabet, Amazon, PayPal, and Pinterest? And the list goes on and on. Which brings me back to TikTok. Again, we're told that China poses a distinct threat because of what the CCP could do with all that data. But where's that same level of concern when it comes to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, and Discord? These apps are all hotbeds of disinformation. And in the case of Elon's Twitter, Nazism and unrestrained hate. Their algorithms have been manipulated by entities both domestic and foreign, like Russia and Iran. Here's the only distinction I can detect. Those companies are owned by Americans. So I guess algorithms that threaten kids' mental health and push hate and discrimination and disinformation are okay with Congress, as long as it's done by American-owned companies run by U.S. oligarchs like apartheid fan fiction character Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Why? Yesterday, I asked this very simple question. Would this forced sale be to a person in particular? Because all I want to know when I heard this is what rich billionaire American wants TikTok and who is it that is being set up to buy it? Well, this morning we got an answer, and it's even more MAGA than we thought.
You're trying to buy TikTok.
I am, because this should be owned by U.S. businesses. There's no way that the Chinese would ever let a U.S. company own something like this in China. It would be a combination of investors, so there would be no one investor that controlled this. And the issue is all about the technology. This needs to be controlled by U.S.
Let me ask you
The app needs to be rebuilt in the U.S. It needs to be U.S. technology. I think there's a lot that could be done in 6 months.
Yep, that guy. Former Trump Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, who thought this Scrooge McDuck photo op with a sheet of dollar bills and his actress wife by his side, and who pocketed $1 billion from the killer Saudi prince on his way out the door from serving Trump, that guy is the one eager to scoop up TikTok, which is the least surprising thing ever. He doesn't tell us who exactly will be part of the consortium, but I'm sure that the current TikTok investor and Republican billionaire donor Jeff Yass, who just so happened to have sat down recently with Trump a few weeks ago, will probably want a piece of the action if past his prologue. It sure looks like these folks are looking to do to TikTok what Musk did to Twitter, Murdoch did in creating Fox, and Limbaugh did to talk radio. As soon as I saw that the vote came through to make TikTok sell itself, I'm like, oh yeah, sell it to which billionaire? What do you make of the idea that it's that billionaire who's a MAGA billionaire?
Joy, this is really a billionaire's ball that they're having over TikTok. And you really do have to ask yourself, do you trust American billionaires to guard your privacy and not manipulate you any more than you trust Who? The Chinese or anybody else around the world? I mean, American billionaires are owning more and more of our giant media conglomerates, our technology, and having more and more power in our system.
And there are Democrats who believe this too, and Republicans, that China is going to come in and start manipulating the minds of our young people. I'm sorry. I just read a story about Discord and Telegram being used to feed suicidal intent into young people. You've seen it turn up in terrorism cases that people are plotting negative action and violence on these platforms. Twitter has become a dumpster fire of Nazism and hate under a American emigre from South Africa. You've had Facebook that was used by the Russians to manipulate Americans during the 2016 election. I could go on. So how is TikTok any different?
We really do have to start looking at these giant technology platforms as public utilities. They have to be regulated like public utilities. We used to have a whole body of law in this country governing public utilities as public utility.
They don't have to ban it. They could simply regulate it. But that would be more like doing their job. The hitch in terms of trying to steal the technology is that TikTok's algorithms are controlled by ByteDance engineers in China who answer to Beijing. After Trump tried to force TikTok's sale, he later lost in court. Beijing placed export restrictions on its algorithms. TikTok's U.S. algorithm operations could be sold, but not the key technology that powers the app, meaning that the algorithm would have to be rebuilt, which would mean that TikTok would go down temporarily. But I think your point is much more important because the algorithms in the hands of MAGA-friendly people that would make TikTok more like Twitter would actually not decrease the danger.
Just because it's called an American company doesn't mean it's going to be functioning in the public interest. American companies don't naturally function in the public interest. Their purpose is to maximize their profits for their shareholders. And their shareholders are not just Americans. Their shareholders increasingly are worldwide. They're global. And so if these things are not regulated appropriately, if we don't understand that they have to be regulated, then again, it doesn't matter who owns them.
Lastly, the free speech aspect of it. There are a lot of people who wouldn't have a voice other than these platforms. What would it do to free speech to shut TikTok down?
Well, it would hurt free speech, obviously, in the sense that, and again, free speech, when we usually talk about the First Amendment, we're talking about the government and rights against the government. But with regard to these huge mega platforms, and they're giant, they're monopolies. Yep. They have got to be, the people do need access to them.
Absolutely.
Now, they nailed it. It's about the common man. It's about regulation. It's about a reality. This is what I thought of this morning that I placed on X and a few other platforms. Check this out. The TikTok narrative and the congressional vote are all wrong. It has nothing to do with the national security, but reciprocity. The national security angle is used to fool most without technical knowledge of how the internet works. China does not need TikTok either to get our personal information or to mislead us. Our capitalist platforms have always been willing to sell our souls for the mighty dollar. They can buy all the information on the open market and control us by paying the capitalists for ads of all forms to deceive us all. The reciprocity angle is honest and makes more sense. We can't operate Facebook and our social media unfettered in China, so why did we allow access to our markets in the first place? Are we going to kill millions of businesses created on TikTok? Congress wants to force a sale to U.S. mega capitalists under false pretenses. Let's be clear. TikTok is technically much better than all the other platforms. Our capitalists like parasites want to do what they do best, steal someone else's intellect and property with false justifications. So yes, the reality is, don't be fooled by what's going on here. All plutocrats fight among each other. And this TikTok fight is nothing more than a technology that superseded any other technology done in America or anywhere. And American capitalists, American plutocrats decided, well, you know what? We want to take it. And here's the deal. They talk about, what China has done is it has prevented the company who owns TikTok from exporting the technology. Let me tell you something, guys. If they don't come to an agreement and somehow an American company who wants to pirate and get TikTok does it, believe me, they will pay off a lot of those engineers in China to bring that old TikTok technology right into America, because we do that best. Just like other people steal our technology, guess who's very good at doing that as well? We are.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.